is John Hang, and in today's video I'm going to be installing some string lights. So this is my new patio, and in the current state that it's in, I do have some string lights, but they are being held up by cinder blocks. I did also do a little bit of the work already, but I'm going to have to rewire it, and in today's video I'm going to be showing how I do that. Sorry about wind noise, but here's where my patio furniture currently stands, or sits I guess, and the idea is to draw a perimeter with the string lights to kind of ambiently light the area. So the materials that I'll need for today are this 20 gauge multi-purpose wire. It's galvanized, so I know that it's outdoor proof. These ferrule stops. These, I am not sure if they're outdoor proof, but they do say to use on galvanized steel cable only, so that makes me assume that they're outdoor proof. I've got these turnbuckles to tighten the wire. These are zinc plated, so they're outdoor proof. I've got some lag bolts that are outdoor rated, as well as washers for those. We'll see what those lag bolts are for in a second. And then I've also got these weather-proof, weather-resistant lag screw eyes. Off to the side, I've also got a 10-foot 4x4 that's pressure treated. What I currently have set in place is a eyelet that's connected to an S-hook, but this S-hook is actually too small to fit the turnbuckle that I have. And so it doesn't fit very securely, which I don't like, so I will be changing things. The main reason why I'm using the multi-purpose wire is that I had previously wired this from here all the way to there, and it was held by a cinder block, and the actual weight of the wires being connected was too heavy and the wires would unplug from each other. And so with the metal wire cable that we'll be using, there'll be no weight supported by the actual wire, which I think is better structurally. And if you guys saw my recent video, I installed this outdoor outlet which the string lights can potentially be plugged into. I'm going to just start off by removing what I already have installed. If you're wondering where I got these lights from, they're from Costco, and they very frequently go on sale for $40 a strand. I've got two of them, so $80 in total, but I'm sure that you can find cheaper ones on Amazon, and I'll include a link of ones that are very similar to this. Alright, so everything's cleared out, and I'm going to start installing these eyelets. You can see here that it's a 1/4 inch lag screw, and so you can just Google pilot hole for 1/4 inch lag screw, and you'll come up with these lag bolt dimensions. So for a 1/4 inch lag bolt, you'll need a 5/32 bit, as well as, you saw earlier, I was using 3/8 inch lag screws, and those will need a 15/64. Alright, so I've got my drill with my 5/32. I'm going up to the corner of the house, and I'm fairly certain that this corner of the house is backed by wood because it is the corner. So I'm fairly confident that if I drill into here, I'll get to wood. Alright, I've got one of the eyelets installed. I just need to screw it in a little bit more. I actually did accidentally miss the wood. I was very confident in it, but I lied. But I'm just going to caulk that up and we should be good to go. It might be a little bit hard to turn this, so I'm just using this wrench to make small turns at a time. This thing is very in there though. Alright, so now that this is in, and I did caulk it like I said I would, so pretty much the reason why we have this here is so that we can have this turnbuckle just hook onto this, and you can see here that this turnbuckle has this thread that you can tighten, which actually shortens it or lengthens it, so that when you have the wire looped into here that will go all the way around, you can tighten that wire without having to make it shorter or longer. Alright, so the next thing I'm going to work on is putting this 4x4 post into this little gap right here. The reason why I'm doing that is because that post over there is about 6 feet taller than this point right here, so I need to raise it up. Otherwise, people walking down the stairs will inevitably, if they are probably about 6 feet tall, walk into the wire, and you don't want that. And obviously for this 4x4 to fit, I'm going to need to cut this square. And so you might be alarmed that I'm actually cutting into my deck railing, but a lot of the deck railing actually needs to be replaced. You can see some warping, and I actually already replaced one of the deck boards over there, so I'm planning to do it all around, so this is just a temporary holdover. Alright, so I've cut it square, and I think I just need to clean it up a little bit so that the 4x4 will fit. Alright, sorry about the wind, but pretty much I've got the 4x4 set in place right now. I If you're working by yourself like I am, I put these cinder blocks here so that I could stand it up, and then I put it up against the posts that are already on the deck, and then I use these clamps to keep it in place. You can see that it is about 6 feet over this railing, and it's about parallel with the corner post that we put in earlier. And since I'm clamping it into the post already, it's more or less plumb. Alright, so I've drilled into the 4x4, but my drill is actually not long enough to go all the way through, so I've got a drill hole here, a drill hole here, and 2 more at the bottom. So what I'm going to do is just flip it over and drill in from the other side. Alright, so I've pretty much pre-screwed the lag bolts. Here's the bottom. And so what I'm going to do is put it back onto here, and you can see that I've come out partially. And so I'm just going to clamp it in, and that should create an indentation in here. And then I'll know where I need to pre-drill here, pilot hole, so that this can go cleanly through here. Alright, so I've bolted in the 4x4. It's pretty strong. Well, I would hope so. Yeah, it's pretty strong. Pretty much locked into that deck now. And so what I'm going to do now is get on a ladder and drill a hole in and do the same thing that I did over there. Alright, so I've got the post over there with an eyelet, and I've got one eyelet over there and one eyelet over there. I'm back at the corner of the house, and you can see that I've got my turnbuckles, one which I just dropped. But you can see here that you can extend it like this. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to have one run that goes from here down to there, and terminates at that one. I'm going to have another one attached to the turnkey that I just dropped. It'll go from here to there, and then to that corner. Alright, so now I'm going to be making the loop that goes around this. So pretty much the idea is that one of the ends of the wire will have a loop around this thing and be permanently installed. So I have my ferrule stop. Alright, so it's got 2 sides to it. I'm going to put one side through with the wire. I'm going to bend the wire. It has to be pretty long of a loop so that it doesn't bend on itself. And I'm going to put it through here and then just push it through like that. And so I've got my loop, and now what I need to do is grab a hammer, or if you have some sort of clamp that can crimp this, I'm going to hammer this so that it pinches it together. I almost forgot, but you have to make sure that the turnbuckle is looped into it also, because like I said before, this is permanently installed. And it doesn't really matter how long this loop is, because this is going to stay in place. So like I said before, just put it on the ground or wherever is safe, an anvil, and just hammer it, and you can see now everything's pinched together like that. And for the last part, I'm going to get the ferrule stop and just do it again. I don't really know what this is for, but alright, so now I've got a permanent loop where it's not going to come undone. Alright, so I'm back to the corner of the house. You can see here that I've already installed this turnbuckle, and that's going that way, like I mentioned before. I've got the turnbuckle that we just installed, hook it into there. And so now I'm going to run this wire along to over there, and then it'll terminate over there. Alright, so the wires run from that corner of the house through the eyelet and that post, and now I've got it in my hand, and I'm going to bring it up to this thing and just see how much distance I need. So I'm going to leave about 5 inches of space because I do need to make a loop at the end, and you always want more space or more wire than less, because you can always cut stuff off, but you can never add it back. So I'm going to make a mark, like a bend in there, and just cut it with my wire cutters. Alright, so this is the exact same thing as before. So I've got my ferrule stop, as well as the end of my wire that I just cut. I'm going to slide this over. The only different thing is we're not permanently installing it on the turnbuckle. This will be a freestanding loop. And so again, I'm going to bend this over and just pull this through. All right. And then do the same thing with the stop like last time. So I've got this S hook, and so I'm just going to put it onto here, and then just put this loop straight onto there, like that. Now it's just hanging freely, and I can just tighten it up over there. Although this looks like a little bit too much slack. All right, so I went to the store because I ran out of ferrule kits, and went to a different store actually, and this one actually has instructions on it, and the stopper is actually supposed to be on the long side, not the end side. So I've been doing it wrong, so if you're watching this video, don't do it like me, do it like this diagram. So I will do it on this one that I'm fixing. All right, so I've got it on here now. It's pretty taut already, but so what I'm going to do next is just tighten the turnbuckle so this is absolutely taut. All right, and doing this should be pretty trivial. You just twist this. And so now this is very, very tight. I'm going to do the same thing with the other line. Alright, so now we can actually get to hanging up the lights. So these lights come with some sort of eyelet, and what you can do with the eyelet is get some like these cable ties and run them through the wire. Alright, and just like that, we're done. I did have a little bit of leftover. I'm just hanging it on the deck right now, but I'll figure out what to do with that later. And so I did have enough zip ties except for this last one, which is kind of annoying, that I'll have to buy a whole new pack just for one zip tie. But I'll probably actually be able to find it somewhere in my house. Alright, so with that, this is a pretty easy one-day project. It took me about like 4 hours, I would say. But I also did have sort of a more complicated setup, including like this 4x4 and so on. But pretty good for beginners, and definitely let me know if you try this out. Alright, this has been John Heng, and if you enjoyed this video, consider giving it a like. If you're liking the content, consider subscribing, and if you have any comments, leave one down below. I'll try to leave an Amazon link to all the products I used today, but if I can't find one, they'll all be pretty easy to find at somewhere like Home Depot or Lowe's. Alright, thanks again for watching, and until next time, this has been John Heng.